It's kind of a song about karma.
Yeah.
It's a song about greed. It's a song about how somebody could be your best friend and your companion and your most trusted person in your life, and then they could go and become your worst enemy.
Blake Lively is allegedly terrified about Taylor Swift's new album.
This is about to be the biggest smear campaign Blake Lively has ever experienced ever in her lifetime. That song is definitely about her ruined relationship with Blake Lively.
So many like friends or acquaintances or people were like, they'll see one comment they don't like,
right,
and it will ruin their day, it'll ruin their night. Information is power, I guess, unless all of your information is geared towards you thinking that everything is.
Blake Lively is reportedly in a complete meltdown after her former BFF, Taylor Swift, openly criticized her in a recent podcast interview. And yes, this is the same Taylor who had promised to stay classy and steer clear of the Blake drama, but critics say that classy era is officially over.
I just don't think that's how.
Now, according to commentators, she's throwing so much subtle shade it's practically mandatory to wear sunglasses.
Well, who wouldn't be terrified when Taylor Swift drops a new album and you've just had a very public beef that has stressed her out for months, stressed her parents out for months, but now she's like, yeah, let's monetize my man's show on YouTube and everywhere else so I can get him some serious views and get him.
Taylor Swift's appearance on Travis and Jason Kelce's New Heights podcast was already headline-worthy, but critics say the way she carried herself made it clear she wasn't just there to talk football. She revealed the title of her brand new 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl, and while the room erupted with laughs and applause, her tone reportedly shifted when she casually referenced keeping drama out of my business.
Used her new era in the book. There's like a whole bunch of Easter eggs. If you go to page 12, you can see it there. So kudos to her. She's playing, a million.
One of the hosts teased her, suggesting the album title sounded like it was aimed at someone specific. Taylor didn't confirm, but she didn't deny it either, just flashed that signature knowing smirk she's mastered. Within hours, the internet went into overdrive, dissecting every second of the clip, and one name kept popping up in all the theories: Blake Lively.
Adorable! Yes. They've always been adorable!
That's why we match so well.
We're about to do podcast.
The speculation didn't just simmer, it exploded. Fans began digging up old photos, connecting subtle jabs from past interviews, and arguing that this wasn't random shade. Blake Lively wasn't just another celebrity acquaintance for Taylor. She was part of the inner circle. In fact, Taylor Swift is reportedly the godmother of Blake and Ryanreynolds' kids.
On the record, it's her 12th album, and number 6 is called Ruined Friendship. I mean, there's no Easter eggs.
These two were reportedly inseparable for years. Birthday dinners, award shows, public shoutouts. All the moments that make a Hollywood friendship seem unshakable. And yet, now Taylor is speaking about drama like it's a contagious disease she's finally vaccinated herself against.
She had a few things to say, although she didn't talk specifically about what had happened with Blake Lively on the podcast, which I thought, I wouldn't expect her to do.
Then came the next twist. Travis Kelce reportedly quietly unfollowed Ryanreynolds on Instagram around the same time. No announcement, no explanation. But in celebrity circles, critics say a silent unfollow speaks louder than any statement. Fans immediately started connecting the dots. If Travis is siding with Taylor, does that mean Ryan is backing Blake?
Did mention how some of her friends are so thin-skinned when it comes to things written about them on the internet.
Social media sleuths reportedly began mapping timelines, observing how these subtle online moves coincided almost perfectly with the podcast release. Critics argue the sequence of events is starting to look less like coincidence and more like a carefully drawn line in the sand.
To me, that she's definitely talking about Blake Lively here. You think everything is about you and every little comment offends you. I mean, that's the reason why this whole lawsuit, as you know, against Justinbaldoni.
Digging deeper, industry insiders reportedly claim the real tension began with a business crossover that went sour. Blake allegedly tried to leverage Taylor's industry connections to advance her own projects. On the surface, that might not seem scandalous, but critics say the controversy stems from whispered claims that these weren't casual favors, but private agreements Taylor believed were meant to stay strictly between friends.
Blake Lively couldn't deal with criticism. She couldn't deal with people not liking her on the internet, and that's why she sued so many people, ruined so many people's lives.
The story goes that Blake allegedly pushed too far, breaking trust in a way that, critics say, couldn't be repaired with an apology dinner. Sources reportedly summed up Taylor's reaction in 2 words: exploited and betrayed.
They threatened to expose all the text messages between her and Taylor Swift unless she supported her in public. She also demanded from Taylor Swift that she would delete text messages between.
This is why the podcast moment reportedly hits so hard. It's more than just a throwaway comment. For someone like Taylor, known for keeping her personal drama under wraps until she's ready to turn it into a song, even hinting at trouble is a major statement.
I think, when you make a diss track about a friendship, you are 100% certain that that friendship is over.
And for longtime fans, critics say it's impossible to miss the lack of warmth when Taylor talks about keeping her business clean, as if she's already cut ties and isn't looking back. The Travis Kelce unfollow is seen as the cherry on top, turning the rift from a private matter into a very public one.
This is about to be the biggest smear campaign Blake Lively has ever experienced, ever in her lifetime. Because when Taylor Swift is making a song about you, that spreads like wild.
TMZ reportedly dropped a bombshell that shaped the next wave of headlines. Taylor Swift isn't going to call out Blake Lively directly, not in interviews, posts, or even lyrics she can't later claim are fictional. The report cites their long history and shared family connection as the main reason. Taylor is literally the godmother to Blake and Ryanreynolds' kids. That bond has defined their public friendship for nearly a decade, from red carpet appearances to private birthday celebrations captured by paparazzi. TMZ frames Taylor's restraint as respect for that connection, but critics say the subtext is clear. She knows the power of not naming names, staying in control while letting the internet do the heavy lifting.
Went through every single track and explained a little bit about them, not too much though, so we don't know what they're about, but she did explain the titles of them.
Next, the Daily Mail reportedly amplified the intrigue, claiming that the life of a showgirl is filled with layered Easter eggs about Blake Lively, subtle enough to be denied, yet specific enough to make fans feel like they're cracking a code. They highlight multiple tracks and alleged behind-the-scenes references to past collaborations or shared events. According to the report, these aren't just random nods to Blake's public career. Some allegedly point to private incidents only the most dedicated insiders or hardcore fans would recall. Critics say it's classic Taylor, crafting multi-layered narratives that reward obsessive decoding.
Every single song is on this album for hundreds of reasons.
And the thing is, when this album hits, the mainstream media can't ignore what's gonna happen.
As soon as these conflicting reports surfaced, the fanbase war reportedly ignited in full force. Swifties versus Blake became the new Twitter battlefield, and critics say it's brutal. Swifties began pulling up stills from music videos, cross-referencing them with Blake's movie wardrobes, while Blake's defenders countered with public support receipts, arguing the media is manufacturing drama. Every lyric leak, whether from credible sources or shady Reddit insiders, was dissected line by line. Some Twitter threads reportedly run thousands of replies deep, mapping alleged references to dates, outfits, Instagram captions, and even the type of champagne in old party photos.
These songs, because every time Taylor Swift drops an album, everyone is digging into every song, trying to find the meanings behind it, trying to find her Easter eggs and everything.
Industry PR experts reportedly started weighing in, offering a calculated perspective. This kind of online speculation is pure gold. The back and forth between two massive fan bases generates constant engagement, which equals nonstop promotion, all without Taylor having to spend a cent on extra marketing.
We don't know what's in that song yet, but I can only imagine, because you might remember I posted a part of an interview that or a conversation that Taylor Swift had about her song My Tears Ricochet.
Some analysts reportedly project that the sustained hype could push first-week global album sales into the multi-million range. For context, Taylor's last album, Midnights, sold 1.57 million copies in its first week in the US alone, a number Billboard called unprecedented in the streaming era. If the life of a showgirl even comes close to matching or surpassing that, critics suggest the Blake narrative could become one of Taylor's most profitable controversies yet.
Swift was explaining what that song was about. Now, when you listen to that, it just gives you goosebumps.
Then came the tracklist leak, and critics say that's when things spiraled into full-on fan detective mode. One title in particular stood out: The Fate of Alia. For casual listeners, it might seem like just a cool, mysterious name, but anyone familiar with the 2012 Oliver Stone film Savages knows Alia is the character Blake played. That was all Swifties needed. Screenshots of the movie scenes reportedly started trending on TikTok, paired with side-by-side comparisons to Taylor's past fashion choices and Instagram posts. The theory mill went into overdrive.
Song about karma.
Yeah.
It's a song about greed. It's a song about how somebody could be your best friend and your companion and your most trusted person in your life, and then they could go and become your worst.
Another track, Cancelled, reportedly stirred even more drama. Fans quickly linked it to the public image destruction that often follows celebrity feuds. The title alone sparked speculation that Taylor might be making a pointed statement about someone's fall from grace. Unsurprisingly, Blake Lively's name came up repeatedly in those conversations, especially given the quiet shift in her media coverage over the past few months. The ambiguity, critics say, only fuels the theories, especially with tracks like Ruin the Friendship adding to the intrigue.
Because they were once your most trusted person.
It's the worst.
There's this beautiful moment in the beginning of a friendship where these people have no idea that one day they'll hate each other.
Then there's the tease track, Ruin the Friendship. On the surface, sources close to Taylor reportedly insist it's a friends-to-lovers story with nothing to do with Blake. But that hasn't stopped the internet from running with it. The phrase itself is too tempting to ignore. The idea of ruining a friendship seems to line up perfectly with the timeline of their rumored fallout. And even if the song truly has nothing to do with Blake, critics say the association is already firmly planted in the public imagination, and once that seed is sown, no amount of clarification can fully erase it.
That's really sad and terrible.
Isn't that crazy to listen to now? It's like she knew what was going to happen into the future.
And while the lyrics and track titles dominate most of the conversation, Swifties reportedly haven't stopped there. They've turned their focus to the album's cover art. The symbolism in the colors and props is being dissected with the kind of attention usually reserved for Renaissance paintings. Some claim the pastel palette and certain props directly reference outfits Blake wore to events she attended with Taylor between 2016 and 2019. One particularly viral tweet points out a champagne glass in the lower right corner of the artwork, allegedly the same style and seen from a 2018 photo at a private party at Blake's home, a night that's since been the subject of gossip about a heated argument.
I am so excited about this, you guys. I'm sorry, I feel like Blake really deserves this. She was a terrible, terrible friend. So I think now Ryan and Blake needs to find a new godmother to their...
This kind of forensic fandom analysis reportedly doesn't stay confined to social media. It spills over into podcasts, YouTube deep dives, and even mainstream entertainment news. The discourse becomes its own promotional engine, keeping Taylor's album in constant circulation weeks before its official release. Whether or not every Easter egg is intentional almost doesn't matter. The perception that there's a hidden story to uncover is enough to keep people engaged. And engaged fans, critics say, are the ones who buy, stream, and talk about the music nonstop.
You make me think, yes, some very subtle shade is coming Miss Lively's way. This podcast, by the way, was 1.3 million live viewers.
The moment that reportedly had the internet leaning forward came mid-interview, when Taylor said, "Even if my name is in the headlines, it can still be none of my business." Delivered casually, but with just enough weight to seem targeted, the quote was instantly clipped, subtitled, and pushed onto TikTok. For fans tracking the alleged rift with Blake Lively, this was interpreted as Taylor refusing to acknowledge or validate any digs, side comments, or press leaks Blake may have made. Critics call it the ultimate power move: talk without talking, address without addressing. And because Taylor is known for choosing her words with surgical precision, this one line reportedly carried enough subtext to keep fans replaying it for weeks.
And I gotta say, overall, before I get into it, like, I thought it was kind of cute. I thought seeing them together, it seems genuine. I am rooting for them. I know a lot of people want to hate on these two, but I like how much they seemingly love each other and support each other.
She didn't stop there. In another exchange, Taylor reportedly criticized people who obsess over negative comments and waste energy suing others for false reasons. On the surface, it could just be a general comment about celebrity culture, but Swifties immediately linked it to rumors that Blake, in past behind-the-scenes disputes, had considered legal action against certain outlets and individuals over unflattering coverage. Those reports never resulted in public lawsuits, but whispers about threatened filings have circulated in the Hollywood gossip mill for years. Critics say the way Taylor phrased it, without naming anyone but with enough specificity to match the timeline, was exactly the kind of shade her fanbase thrives on.
New album takes shots at Blake, and did she say anything last night? Before we get to the clips, yeah, she broke the internet again, dropping news. Everybody's reporting this. It's all over.
Then came the moment the host decided to poke the bear. They joked, laughing, that it sounded like Taylor was saying, "Blake, quit bringing your drama into my business." Cameras reportedly caught Taylor smirking and laughing along, and crucially, not denying it. No, I'm not talking about her. No attempt to walk it back, just a laugh loaded enough to inspire hundreds of reaction videos. That little pause before her laugh was all fans needed to turn the clip into shade-filled TikTok edits with captions like, "When you say you're unbothered, but your laugh says otherwise." Within hours, those clips racked up millions of views, cementing the exchange as one of the podcast's viral peaks.
For various reasons, again, we're going to talk about it, but all the comments came in. I'm just hoping the new Taylor Swift album has at least one Blake Lively diss.
What made the whole segment explode even further, critics say, was Taylor's delivery. Her choice of words, the strategic pauses, and the slight emphasis on "my business" made the soundbites perfect for social media. TikTok thrives on ambiguity paired with confidence, and this was textbook. Fans reportedly looped her comments over slow zoom videos, reaction memes, and even old photos of her and Blake at events. The algorithm rewarded the drama, pushing the clips into For You feeds far beyond just Taylor's fan base.
TMZ saying it's a huge reach, even though she's known for her snide lyrics about exes and the rift. She is also the godmother of her children, etc. But, you know, she's obviously very upset by the whole dragon.
But the shade wasn't the only headline that week. There was Collateral drama, and it came with a name, Ryanreynolds. Just days before the podcast episode dropped, eagle-eyed fans reportedly noticed that Travis Kelce had unfollowed Ryan on Instagram. The timing was too perfect to ignore. The unfollow immediately sparked speculation about a friendship split between the couples, the Swifts and Kelces on one side, the Reynoldses on the other. Given how public all four had been about their mutual friendship, double date sightings, game appearances, holiday parties, critics say the move looked deliberate.
She was accused of dropping music as her contemporaries to maintain her place at the top of the charts. She was even targeted by President Trump for endorsing him.
Hollywood gossip insiders reportedly began weighing in, suggesting that Ryanreynolds may have privately sided with Blake Lively in whatever fallout occurred, and that this didn't sit well with Taylor's circle. One source claimed the tension had been simmering for months, especially after certain industry events where Taylor felt excluded by people she once considered close allies. If Ryan did align himself with Blake during the split, critics argue, it would help explain why someone as high-profile as Travis Kelce would risk the public attention that comes with hitting that unfollow button.
Easter eggs in the new album and how she overcame the drama with Blake, and she does in her own way address people who believed in her relationship was a PR.
Once the unfollow hit entertainment news cycles, social media reportedly went into overdrive, digging into the archives. Old clips of Ryan and Blake playfully teasing Taylor's dating history, even some from as far back as 2016, resurfaced on Twitter and Instagram. While most were lighthearted at the time, critics say that in the current context, they were reinterpreted as signs of underlying shade that fans claimed they'd missed back then. One particularly viral clip came from a 2018 press interview, where Ryan made a cheeky comment about needing a relationship for album material, a line that, in hindsight, felt a lot more pointed.
Special editions of albums, right, as other big artists were releasing their first editions. Billie Eilish released her new album, Hit Me Hard and Soft, and Taylor dropped 2 special editions that same day, which was seen as a direct attack.
The unfollow quickly transformed from a minor Instagram update into a symbolic act, a clear line drawn in the sand. In the court of public opinion, critics say, it wasn't just about Travis and Ryan. It became the public face of a full-blown celebrity Cold War. On one side, Taylor, Travis, and their extended circle projected unity while avoiding direct confrontations. On the other, Blake and Ryan remained publicly aligned, but were now under intense scrutiny for past comments and perceived allegiances.
Of the album because she wanted it to be positive and feel good. You hear that, Blake? She doesn't think.
The moment Swifties reportedly started pulling receipts, Blake Lively's online world shifted overnight. Within hours of the podcast going live, old interview clips began resurfacing on X, formerly Twitter, where eagle-eyed fans clipped moments from as far back as 2018 and 2020 in which Blake appeared to subtly shade Taylor. One red carpet junket interview, replayed on loop, showed Blake smiling while making a throwaway remark about needing multiple boyfriends for creative inspiration, a line many now interpret as a dig at Taylor's dating history and songwriting style. Another clip from a 2019 late-night talk show showed her laughing along when the host joked about Taylor's Ex of the Month, which had seemed harmless at the time, but now reads like an early warning sign of cracks in their friendship. Once these clips were threaded together with context, the hashtag Blake Lively is over party reportedly began trending in certain circles, propelled almost entirely by Swiftie accounts with millions of followers.
Ophelia, Elizabeth Taylor, Opalite, father figure, eldest daughter, ruin the friendship, what? Actually romantic, wish list with money signs, would, canceled, honey, the life of...
The ripple effect reportedly extended beyond fan culture. Fashion industry insiders allegedly whispered to trade reporters that several brands were quietly reevaluating collaborations with Blake Lively. This wasn't about her personal style, which remains a favorite in fashion media, but about risk management. The power of a Swiftie-driven boycott is well documented, and brands have seen firsthand what can happen when they land on the wrong side of Taylor's fan base. According to one source at a New York PR agency handling luxury accounts, a major European label reportedly pressed pause on a planned campaign featuring Blake, citing concerns over narrative baggage after the podcast fallout. The implication was clear, until the social media storm calms. Associating with her could risk alienating millions of potential customers.
There are some lyric leaks. I'm not going to share them here because she's legally going on lockdown on a lot of them. But reports are saying that if the lyric leaks were true, and the track listing did leak before she released it, if the lyric was, this one actually is about apparently a love song, as in we were friends, now we're ruining our friendship to become lovers, is what I think.
Then came the viral comparison thread that reportedly lit up social media dashboards all weekend. Posted by a Swiftie account with over 450,000 followers, it broke down the career trajectories of celebrities who'd had public or rumored fallouts with Taylor. It cited examples like Katy Perry's dip in social engagement post 2014, Calvin Harris's sudden drop in brand endorsements after their breakup, and even the cooler reception to Karlie Kloss's projects after their rumored friendship fracture. Into that pattern, the thread slotted Blake's recent metrics, a 17% drop in Instagram engagement compared to the same period last year, fewer red carpet invites in the past 6 months, and a noticeable decline in press coverage unrelated to her husband or joint appearances. The thread's tone was reportedly half gossip, half data analysis, and it spread far beyond Swiftie spaces, drawing in entertainment journalists and marketing professionals debating whether these dips were coincidence or consequence.
Ultimately going to be about, while everyone wants this to be about Blake, it's kind of too on the nose. Canceled lyrics also leaked, and again, hard to tell, but could be.
As if that weren't enough, Reddit threads and gossip blogs reportedly began circulating unverified DMs from people claiming to be in Blake's inner circle. These posts painted a picture of her calling friends in tears after the podcast aired, supposedly venting about feeling blindsided and misrepresented by the speculation it triggered. While none of these claims were confirmed, critics say the sheer volume made them impossible to ignore in online discourse. One popular Instagram gossip account with over 2 million followers reportedly claimed multiple sources said Blake spent an entire evening making back-to-back calls to mutual friends, trying to gauge whether Taylor's comments were aimed at her. Even if the truth of these stories remains murky, the narrative of a rattled Blake added fuel to the public perception that she was on the defensive.
That the Savages character is also that. Could this be a subtle way, the fate of Ophelia, a subtle way to maybe throw a couple shades at Blake?
If things are already this intense, the near future could reportedly take the feud to another level entirely. Taylor is known for playing the long game with her release strategies, and industry watchers note that the life of a showgirl rollout is far from over. There's still the possibility of deluxe editions, which often include vault tracks, unreleased songs that didn't make the initial cut. PR analysts caution that if even one of those vault tracks contains lyrical content fans can link to Blake, especially after the current blow-up, the drama could reignite instantly with fresh headlines and renewed online battles. Meanwhile, Blake's rumored countermove could be just as calculated. Multiple sources in fashion media circles suggest she's been in early talks for a high-profile feature in a major outlet, with Vanity Fair floated as the likeliest candidate. The plan would allegedly be to time the interview to coincide with a peak of Taylor's album cycle, effectively inserting herself into the conversation and potentially reframing the narrative. Whether the interview would address the feud directly or take a more subtle image repair approach is still unknown, but the strategic timing alone would make it impossible for entertainment media to ignore it. PR professionals are reportedly calling this a perfect storm for celebrity press coverage. Two A-list names with intersecting fan bases, a history of public closeness, and enough passive-aggressive subtext to keep traditional media and social platforms invested for months. Add in the high commercial stakes of Taylor's album sales and Blake's ongoing brand deals, and every quote, unfollow, and public appearance could be scrutinized for signs of escalation.